What's up, gang? Carlton Flowers here, your crypto pro.
Yay!
And we have a rapid report on Kadena, KDA. This is my new format where I'll just rip through different cryptocurrency projects and give you the at the moment technical analysis so we can see what is going on and make a possible determination of a next move. So here we are on the 4-hour chart for KDA, which has been pumping like crazy over the last couple of weeks. Now, with Kadena, I have a DCA price, or dollar cost averaging. I bought two equal size orders, and my dollar cost average price is $1.89 per token. So I was pretty happy about that. But as I sat trying to decide on when to add to my bag, this happened. I have been waiting ever since for this price to come down, and it just won't. As a matter of fact, here it is way back here. I bought back here in this area, and then after it moved up above $2 to $3, I thought, well, we've got to have a correction at some point where I can add to the bag. But here we sit on the 4-hour chart where we can plainly see that we're not really guaranteed that we are going to have a correction. Now, right now, there is a possibility. On the 4-hour chart, it's hard to tell. It looks like we might have a crossover with the stochastic, but it looks like the lines could glance off and head back divergent again. So we are in the overbought territory right now with this crossover possibly happening within the next few hours. And if it does, then we could correct. And the question is, where is it going to correct to? So here we have this 50 EMA line, which this is going to shoot on up just a little bit like this. And then if we get a correction, it'll curl down. It is a possible price target for a correction. If we get a good, clean correction, which would be healthy for this project, for the long-term movement, then we could come down to this 50 EMA where it just magically lines up with one of two of the volume nodes on the VPVR. That is the volume profile visible range, and it shows the volume at a particular price instead of the volume on a particular candle. So when we see one candle here, this is the volume for an entire day on the 1-day chart, or the volume for 4 hours. This is the 4-hour chart. Now, on the volume profile visible range, we take the visible amount of price that we can see right here, and then we say, okay, how much was traded at this particular price right there? We have this big node right here, this fat node, which says somewhere around the $11.80 price. There was a lot of volume. We have this great big one down here, which is somewhere around $7, which happens to be the point of control, POC price. And I don't see Kadena dipping down to that. It's probably not going to happen because that would take us below the 50 EMA, and it's hard to get below that in a bull market. So here's the 50 EMA. We could possibly dip down to the 200 EMA. That's the 200 period. The last 200 4-hour candles make up this line right here. You take the average of the previous 200, and there it is. So in a steep correction, we would look for a possible dip to the 200. Now, if we were in a bear market, what can happen is you can go below the 200 EMA and start to downtrend, and I don't see that happening at all. I would be happy to get some kind of correction to at least these two little nodes here. One is at about $14.30, and the other is at around, say, $13.50. So either of those would be better than nothing. But right now, is as far as the popularity of this project now and the volume that we are seeing, look at this fat volume down here. We had this increase and then this great big volume bar right there, where this says that there's a lot of institutional buyers that are jumping into this project because they see what's going on. They understand the utility and the fact that this is a proof of work blockchain that operates like a proof of stake blockchain. Usually with proof of work, it takes a long time and you can't scale them. But they figured out a way to run parallel chains. I don't totally understand the technicalities of it, but they solved the whole roadblock of a proof of work being able to rapidly process transactions. And so it can act like Ethereum, but without the, say, high gas fees and with keeping the security of proof of work. So that's a little bit of fundamental analysis on this project. Well, anyway, let's get back to the technicals. So the MACD, oh boy, it's just looking super bullish. We've had this long rise here, and the lines are divergent. That's the fast line and the slow line that look like they're getting farther away from each other. That's bullish. And we also have several dark green bars on the histogram right here. When it's a light green bar, it means it's going down. When it's dark green, it's going up. We have several in a row that are dark green, which says that there is a lot of strength to this move. Now, like I said before, we could correct. We could come down to that 50 EMA. But here's the thing. If Solana is any indication, there is no guarantee that this thing could come back down. I only hope and pray that it does because I want to buy more. But we can't guarantee that. Now, let's look at the one-day chart. This gives us a little bit more clear of a picture because when we look on the stochastic, it almost looks like we're about to cross over. And so then here is the 50 period way down here, and it's more matched up with the point of control price right there. Not to say that we'll like correct all the way down here. I don't think that's going to happen. Looking at the VPVR, here's a node right here that is a possible target for a correction, and then the next one is right here that we could dip down to. So I'm hoping for either one of these if that can happen. Right now we're at this high node up here in price discovery zone. Actually, this thing came out at like $89, so it's not really price discovery yet. Now, how did this thing come out so high and then plummet so far down? I think it's because the people knew what the value was when they initially unloaded this thing, when they had the initial coin offering or the IDO or whatever the style that it was. Now, looking on the MACD, which is slower than the stochastic. In other words, these oscillators up here are already rounding off, and we see that there's a crossover about to happen. Whereas on the MACD, we have a divergence that's widening. See that widening gap? And this looks very bullish as it's still shooting upwards, and we have all of these dark green bars on the histogram. Once this stochastic starts to come down, then the MACD oscillators will follow. They lag behind the stochastic oscillators. But this kind of gives us a little bit of a clue as to where we're at. And we know that there's still a little bit of room up here that this MACD can go. That's why I say that there's no guarantee that it's absolutely going to correct right now, even though it's giving hints, giving an indication that it could. Again, another indication here that it might not come down is the length of time that the stochastic stayed up here in the overbought zone. We had a couple of other areas here and here where we had a half of a correction down to the 50 line, and then we finally made it down into the oversold zone right here that we had not seen since July. So at some point, we've got to have a correction. It would be healthy for it to do this and then come back up. But again, it's a bull market, so we just don't know for sure if that is going to happen right now at this time. I'd sure like to know your thoughts if you are holding KDA, if you think that we could possibly head towards either two of these big, thick volume node clusters on the VPVR, or do you think that we'll continue to sail on up from here with a Solana-like price action? Let me know in the comments, like and subscribe, and please share this video. This is Carlton Flowers, your Crypto Pro, and that's all I've got. We will see you next time.